Hello, I'm Sarah Davis from Integrated Treatment Services, and in today's session I'm going to talk to you about the How Does Your Engine Run programme. This programme was developed by the Alert programme, and it was a system that really helps you to help children and young people to express their sort of sensory state, to express their sensory needs, I guess. So I've got some resources to show you, and this might help you to have a better understanding about what this is used for. So this is the setup of the Alert programme. You would use like a sort of speedometer, I guess, in the middle with a movable arrow, okay? And then to each side you'd have a picture. So we need some pictures to express different sort of moods. So we're using these ones saying that you're feeling too low, quite sleepy, quite lethargic, okay? So that's sort of one end of your sort of speedometer, if you like. So it's up over here. Okay, the in-between picture is our just right picture. So we're basically saying, yeah, I'm just right, I'm feeling okay, I'm ready to work. That might be the best way to describe it. Okay, so that one is up in the middle section of our speedometer. And then the final one, as you can see by the picture, is I'm too high, I'm feeling really angry, or I'm feeling really worried, but my sensory system is kind of up here. That's how I'm feeling. Okay, so that one will go right over to this side on our speedometer. Okay, so you might use the word just right in the middle, too low, and too high. Okay, so that might be really good terminology to use with the students or young people. I have used this with children sort of as young as sort of 5 or 6 that have difficulties to sort of try and express what their needs are, you know, their sort of sensory needs, their physical needs. But I also use it right the way through to sort of teenagers, and it definitely works with you know, teenagers and young adults, adults with learning disabilities perhaps as well, who may have some behaviour difficulties, challenging behaviour, whose sensory system is really hard for them to be able to balance, who just generally need support to express how they're feeling physically, I guess I'm talking about here. So what you would do is you need to establish sort of what it is that the person is like and feels like when they are just right. So I've got some examples here about clients that we've worked with. So a couple of the clients, or one client in particular, his just right stage, it's how everybody would know that he was ready to work, he was feeling okay. So if that was him in his just right stage, he'd be quite an affectionate young man. He was quite humorous, he was very communicative, very motivated, would respond to structure and would respond to rewards. So if this young person was feeling just right, that's how they would present. So it's really important in this programme that both the young person themselves and others around them would know what that would look like and feel like if they were feeling just right. So you get consistency, I guess, in interpretation of that young person, and they recognise that other people will also know when they are feeling just right, what do they look like, how do they come across. Okay, then for his situation of when he was feeling sort of too low, his sort of typical things of being too low would be not getting out of bed in the morning, feeling very withdrawn, a real lack of engagement. So what you need to do is then establish that when somebody is feeling at this sort of too low stage, what would that look like? How would everybody know and recognise that that's how they're feeling, that's what their body, their physical system is like? And then what are good strategies, what needs to be done to try and help that young person get back to the speedometer of going back up to just right. Okay, so for this young person, his was very much around needing some time to be left alone, maybe introducing a motivating activity, giving him a sand timer and a period of time where he had some getting ready time without sort of somebody keep urging him to do something or keep reminding him. So just giving him space, giving him time. What would happen if that sort of situation went wrong? So how would we know if he's feeling too low and then his behaviour triggers because of that? His typical behaviour would have been swearing, hitting, throwing, kicking, maybe assaulting staff, and very withdrawn behaviours, feeling quite passive, feeling quite low and withdrawn. So you've got sort of 3 steps, I guess, in here. And sorry for the yellow type, it's not exactly easy for you to see. But actually what you're looking for is when somebody is at that just too low stage, what will they look like? How will they present? What's the agreed actions that everybody will do to help bring them back to the just right stage? And if that too low stage goes wrong, how will we know it goes wrong? What will the behaviour present as? How will they appear? What will they do? So everybody's got a consistency in understanding what that young person is like when they're too low, okay, when they're just right, and then moving over to the sort of a too high stage. So giving you an example again, this young person, if he was feeling really too high, he'd be miscommunicating, he would be not getting his own way, responding very badly to failing at an activity, feeling very stressed and anxious, associating everything with being a demand, sensing competition of other students, attempts with other students to sort of outdo them, a real level of competition, I guess, being jealous of others, really wanting to receive more attention, not liking overcrowding and not liking too much noise. So again, looking at this stage, his sort of too high stage shows sort of over this side of a speedometer. They're the kind of things that we might notice about him, that he would notice in himself and other people would notice. Those behaviours, okay, yeah, this person is getting too high, his sensory system is getting to as much as he can take, and we now need to try and look towards helping him and supporting him to bring him back to just right. So again, you agree what the strategies would be. So for him, to get him back to just right and to help him in that too high situation, he needs help with being calm. So that really is going to be about giving him space, providing him time out, some safe off-site space. So if he was in the classroom, for example, being able to come out of the classroom but in a safe space, it was okay to have some time. Helping him to problem solve, agree an agreement board or plan. So giving him some pictorial support to sort of help him understand what he might agree to do next, you know, how he'd get back to this just right stage. Providing him an acceptable release of aggression. So he might just have this real big adrenaline build-up that he needs to sort of explode and get rid of. So, you know, depending on people's views, you could have sort of squeezy objects, you could have some real physical activities, you might have a punch bag, anything that you feel is acceptable to be able to sort of express and get rid of that sort of real high energy and sort of negative behaviour, negative feeling, sort of sensation in his body. And you also using incentives at that point. So how he can sort of start to get back on track, I guess, and work towards something that's positive. So if he goes too high, the common things that we would notice in this young person is swearing, hitting, throwing, kicking, possibly assaulting staff. So you can see some of his behaviours are quite similar in terms of when he's feeling sensory very low and sensory very high. So there is a bit of an interpretation to do here. The thing about the programme is making sure that sort of the young person, the care support worker and the teacher and the parent all have the same plan really when that happens. So when you see this phase, this too high stage, what is it that he needs others to do and what is it that he's going to do himself to get him back to just right? How do we know what his behaviours are when he is just right? How do we know he's able to focus, he's able to concentrate, he's sort of, you know, with it and engaged? And then if he's too low, what sort of behaviours would we see? And what agreed plan do we have to get him back to just right when he's too low? So this really helps because it stops sort of the unpredictable stage of us trying to problem solve when the behaviours are happening or when things go wrong. So if you've got an agreed plan, he then becomes very safe in his plan about what staff are going to do, what level of involvement they will have with him, and what he needs to be doing himself. So you can also remind that young person of the agreed plan. Okay, I can see that you're feeling really up here, really sort of fed up and really angry right now. So remember, what we said we would do is you will do X, Y, Z, I will do A, B, C. Now for some clients that wouldn't be appropriate to talk it through at that stage. You might just get on with those actions, but others you might have reminders. So you might have some visual symbols to remind them of what they're going to do and what you're going to do. If you feel that it's okay to engage verbally with them, you might do the same thing there and tell them what you're going to do. So I'm going to give you some space and I'm going to be outside the room, and that's it. Okay, so you just go through the strategy that you agreed. Okay, activities that can help to sort of bring down those levels of sort of high anxiety, or to also raise those sort of lower lethargic sort of behaviours. So exercises to let off steam when you're feeling like this. Very good to sort of have time on a trampoline, maybe football, running, a punch bag, a gym session, bike riding. So those things can really help to sort of help bring the sensory system down when they've come up too high. But if you've got a sensory system that's sort of very low and you want to bring it back up, you might be using things that are sort of more, high scent, high visual sort of distraction, auditory sort of input. So, using sort of different, it might be music particularly that he likes, so energizing music, things that will help to alert him. Sorry, I missed out a few on bringing them down as well. Having a bath or having a shower could be a good one. Using TheraBands, so things that you can really stretch and have resistance against and pull. Maybe talking about an agreement plan, so that might be a way to help bring some clients down, but not all. Time to talk, some clients really just need some one-to-one time to talk. Going for a walk, getting out in some space, having some space in a safe room. We talked about squeezy objects and things like that. So I hope that gives you a bit of an overview. Do have a look at the website for the Alert programme, which is www.alertprogram.com. Also have a look on our website, www.integratedtreatments.co.uk. You'll be able to download some of these resources that I've shown you today, hopefully with a better colour printout than the ones I've shown you, and sort of amend them to suit the clients that you're working with. So good luck. I hope you enjoy using this programme, and do let us know how you get on.